Hi, I'm Bill Wootton, and I'm president of C3 Integrated Solutions, and welcome to an episode of Cup of CMMC. The idea behind this program is to take various topics related to CMMC and technologies associated with it and applying towards compliance and try to make it a little more relatable, try to make it a little more conversational, almost like a couple people just sitting down, having a cup of coffee and talking about the various topics of the day. So we're going to try and see if we can get that working, get that going. Today I have with me Jay Leask, who is the Principal Solution Architect for Public Sector at AvePoint. Thanks for coming to the show.
It's my pleasure, Bill. It's been a lot of fun. We've had a lot of conversations over the last few months regarding the CMMC, the DIB, the DoD, and how all of this relates, especially with the incredible digital transformation that many of these organizations have gone through over the last year. So I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks a lot. So first and foremost, what's in your cup?
Well, my wife and daughter made this one for me a little while ago. And I've got lemonade. I just finished up lunch, so I got some lemonade to bring it down.
Fantastic. I'm working on my second cup of coffee for the day right now. I needed a little extra this Monday. So, taking that one step further, tell me a little bit about what's on your plate these days. What's working? What's keeping you busy?
We've got a lot going on. So personally, I've got 2 podcasts that I've been running through the pandemic. One focused on Microsoft Teams, both from an end user and a management perspective, so they understand what features are there and why are they there and how do they work, how do they secure their data. And then I've got another podcast called Buzzkill, which is an IT-focused podcast all about the topics that are really hard to get people to fund, to build resources for, the buzzkills, as you might say. So that I've got those 2 podcasts going on. And then of course, AvePoint is in the middle of massive growth. The digital transformation that has come alongside this pandemic has really increased the amount of work and visibility into what we do, providing solutions to provide granular capabilities around governance of Microsoft 365 platform. So it's a very busy time.
It's great. And, we first started working together, bringing the backup solution for GCC Hyde into the marketplace. We're really excited to partner with you guys on that piece of it. But it's the data governance piece that I think is really interesting. I think it's one of those areas that's so challenging. People have a tendency to kind of hide under the desk when we start talking about it because it's so hard to get your hands wrapped around it. Kind of a little bit of a buzzkill in some spaces. And, I think some of the work you guys are doing in that space is fantastic. We're really excited to use that and apply it into the defense industrial base and see how we can use that to help get folks compliant with CMMC and get control of their CUI data. And to that part, we're going to do a webinar in a couple of weeks sponsored by our friends over at Carishoff. Tell me a little bit about the topic and how we're going to handle that.
Well, actually, it all started with you, Bill. You wrote this great article. We did a series on the Department of Defense and related industry and what they needed to consider with Microsoft 365. And the reason for this was when the pandemic hit, Microsoft and the Department of Defense, they partnered to create what's called the CVR, which was a combined environment for all members of the Department of Defense to come together and share Office 365 capabilities. So in an unclassified environment, they could work together, whether or not they were in the same buildings. It really increased their ability to collaborate, but this was never meant to be a permanent solution. And so over the past year, we've tried to put a lot out there on how do you manage an environment like this? What do you do when this temporary solution goes away? And you wrote this great article on how you've learned lessons from CMMC and how they relate to governing a system like Office 365. And as I was reading through this article and how it relates to the rest of the series, I thought, Bill, we need to get out there. We need to talk about this because this is exactly the conversation we're having across the DoD. It's the conversation we're having in all the regulated industries we work with, whether it's finance or defense or pharmaceutical. They're all trying to figure out, how do we take this environment, which is created for open collaboration, and put security around our content areas to make sure that only the right people see the content they need, but that we do it without creating roadblocks and really slowing the process down. And that's what our cloud governance platform is focused on. It's designed to create an end user catalog of services that enable the person to get what they need without slowing their process down, while interjecting the right level of control where it's required.
Yeah, and one of the things that we really like, the reason I like that solution so much and the way we've been able to harness it is it gives the client options.
Yeah.
It gives them the ability to not, we have clients who just literally kind of hide under the desk in terms of, I'm not going to open up SharePoint. I'm not going to open up a Teams. It's too much. I can't handle it. I don't have time. I have resources. To the other end of the spectrum where they open it up and they don't put any governance on it and data just running wild. And that's almost worse in some ways because they don't have any control over who has access to Teams. Is data getting labeled appropriately? How are they managing it? And can they report on those things? And they're going to have some challenges when they get around to auditing and situations. What we loved about working with you guys on it is we can set up different categories. You can have it both ways. We can have a customer service team or an employee benefits team that's open up to the entire organization, or we can have a team that's locked down and is even segmented from portions of the organization. So there's no way to share that data. We can get that data labeled. Really a super powerful overlay to the native solutions that are in Office 365. There's some great stuff in there, but it can be a little bit brute force, and you guys add that little bit of sophistication to it that's really cool. So,
yeah, in no way am I knocking what Microsoft has developed. They have, and we have the same conversations they have. You have to have consideration for controls over who can access data, over how it's named, over where it's stored. But natively, and this is where the Defense Department and the Defense Industrial Base is starting to see it. Natively, these controls are at the tenant level. Everybody in the organization follows the same controls. And if you are bringing together generally disparate things, disparate organizations where they each had their own SharePoint farm in the past, you're going to start to see that the way they manage may not match the way another organization manages. And you need something that lets you say, use by use, how do we control this particular category of information? And that's one of the areas that we specialize.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the webinar itself and the format for it. I think we're going to try and have more of a conversation like we're doing now.
Yeah.
One of the things I really enjoyed is we were putting this together. We were trying to make it very tangible for the listener. We've got some great examples, some great use cases. I think you guys have some great experience in that. I love some of the topics that we're going to talk about on that end of it. You want to preview a little bit on that, or should we save it for the webinar?
Oh no, always happy to do that. I'm very excited that as you and I have come together, we're not coming in with 50 slides and clicking through a lot. We're actually coming in to have a conversation just like we're having now. Yeah. The goal is to make it interactive. So we have a half dozen or so questions that we'll push out to the audience, which will feed our discussion. And yeah, like you mentioned, what are we going to talk about? So the first thing is, what is CMMC? What are the various levels that you need to be concerned about? And what are the stages of preparedness that an organization might be looking at? The next thing is, now that you've got this idea of what CMMC is, how do we approach it? And what does it really mean to control the content using the CMMC as your guide? And then lastly, what I'm really excited about, because I hate conversations that give me all this knowledge but no way to move forward with it, is, in the end, how do we actually do this? What does a deployment look like, considering the CMMC regulations? So, I look forward to having this conversation like that, and being able to hear from the audience, what concerns are they having? Where are they in this process? And then hopefully guiding them through this to other materials that will help them perform this implementation.
Sounds great. Yeah, and I like the fact we're gonna bring in some real examples along the way in there. We're gonna talk about a couple of customer experiences we've both had to kind of help take these. A lot of people hear the word governance and the eyes roll over and they're just done. And we're gonna try and kind of make it more of a real world of, we've had this environment or this situation, this was the challenge, and this is how we can overcome these things. So I think it's gonna be a great event. Where can people find out more about your podcast?
Oh, really good question. So both my podcasts are part of a network called On the Spot. So if you go to onthespot.tech, the both podcasts are listed there. We've got a couple more in the works. A good friend of mine, Jeremy Wood, with The Geek Within. We've got a government-focused teams podcast coming. Some really cool content that I'm very excited about. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, it's great. Jeremy does great work. He's got a lot of good things that he pushes out, and it's fantastic. And then for our webinar, we'll put some information on this posting as well as on our website on how to get registered, how to get signed up for it. That'll be February 17th, I think, coming up.
Yes.
Yeah, coming quick. So we'll look forward to seeing everyone else on that event. And Jay, thanks for joining us. This has been a great conversation.
Bill, it's entirely my pleasure. Thank you for pulling this together, and I look forward to the conversation on the 17th.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot. Take care, Jay.
Bye.